Well, it was a long way to travel for Brighton, but they went all the way to Anfield, Shaka, and brought the cavalry. Graham Potter, are you watching? Of course, we know Graham
Hmm.
Potter won with Chelsea today too, but Brighton came very close to a win at Anfield, which we all know how hard that is to get. Shaka, in the end, they had to share points. 3-3 is how it ended. But let's start off with Liverpool because, of course, we started off the season expecting Liverpool to be Manchester City's closest rival for this title in the Premier League. And now there have been a lot of question marks, particularly about the defense, Shaka. So let's start there because you are being a goalkeeper, you're used to watching your backline extra closely. If you were Alisson, what would you be thinking after this?
I wouldn't be best pleased. I really wouldn't. And well, before we get into Liverpool, because there's a lot to unpack with Liverpool.
Yeah.
Let me just go back on what you said, and let's give Brighton their just rewards. Because as you mentioned, long journey for Brighton. You lose your manager to Chelsea. You've had this long break, and then within 3 minutes you take the lead at
At
Anfield.
Anfield.
That was not supposed to happen. 15 minutes later, you're 2 up. Trossard on a brace at this point. Again, that is totally against the script. And it wasn't fluky. Whereas you could make the argument 3 minutes in, everybody's still trying to figure out what this game is about. But when that second goal goes in, Brighton were the better team. There was no question that Brighton were the better team. And you were looking for something. You were looking for something from Liverpool that was slow to come by. Eventually, you got it, and you were lucky in that. I think it was a long ball played over the top for Mo Salah. I think he was trying to lob Sanchez, but he miscued that effort, and it fell really nicely into the path of Roberto Firmino, who preferred to start over Darwin Nunes, who was on the bench. Maybe that was a surprise to some, but it was a really well taken goal. And then there's this long delay because of VAR. So everything about it just felt so surreal if you're a Liverpool fan, that this is not how it's supposed to go. Yeah. You know, you're not supposed to be 2 down to Brighton. Mo Salah's not supposed to be miscuing in effort. You could even make the argument that Firmino not supposed to be starting ahead of Darwin Nunes. Yeah. Never mind his red card and all that. No, we're forgetting that part. But all of a sudden, Liverpool are back in the game.
Yeah.
Then they get the equalizer, again, Roberto Firmino. And you think normal service resumed. And at 2-2, you think, yeah, Liverpool are going to nick this 3-2. And as much as there'll be criticism, which we'll get to, you feel that they'll nick the win, and you'll say, well, or the excuse will be, well, we got through in the end. And Brighton played a part in Liverpool taking that 3-2 lead. Sanchez could have done better from a set piece, comes off the shoulder. Webster, all of a sudden, Liverpool are 3-2 up, and you think, well, no, normal service has been resumed. But nobody told Brighton, and in particular, nobody told Trossard, because he then bags a hat-trick. It's 3-3, and we will praise Brighton equally. We criticize Liverpool.
Yeah.
And more to the point, I think 2 of the players who will come in for particular under particular criticism would be Virgil van Dijk and Trent Alexander-Arnold.
Which one of those guys we're not used to criticizing?
We are not. And a lot has been made of both of them this season.
Yeah.
And
it's a World Cup year.
It is. And, you know, you had Trent Alexander-Arnold being left out of the England squad. You had Jurgen Klopp coming out and defending Alexander-Arnold or around his defending or lack of. And you wanted to see a response from him in particular. And while Virgil van Dijk has come in for some criticism this season, I think we're still on the fence where you think you know exactly how good you can be.
Yeah.
And we can make discussions around the injury and how much he's really recovered and is this just a blip? you are looking for a whole lot more from Trent Alexander-Arnold. Virgil van Dijk didn't cover himself in an awful lot of glory, but Trent Alexander-Arnold left us with even more to be critical of. All 3 goals came down his side. The first goal, the first 2 in particular, and this is my real issue with Trent Alexander-Arnold. You can accept that he's not, or to use Jurgen Klopp's phrase, he's a good defender, but sometimes he doesn't defend good, right?
Yeah.
So we can accept that, but at least run back, at least try to get yourself in the way of things, even if one-on-one defending or covering or reading the game from deep lying positions isn't your strength. At least run back and just try to be there. And too often, the first goal, he tries to make up ground and somehow makes an absolute mess of that. But okay, sometimes he doesn't defend good, according to Jurgen Klopp. The second goal for me was what I'm particularly critical of. Long ball over the top. He tries to control on his chest, pops it up too much, gets his pocket pegged, and then his recovery run for me left a lot to be desired. I don't know if he would have been able to get back fully to prevent the goal, but he could at least get himself in a position to make the attacking players think twice about this pass or whether it's still open. Just be there and give the opposition a little bit more to think about. And that for me is where I felt he let himself down. If at times you don't defend good, I'll stick with that phrase. If at times you are having a poor run of form in any department, I will always say the solution to that is go back to basics. Just do these simple things. Long ball over the top, you're not having a good time defensively, just head it anywhere. Just volley it into the stands if that's what it takes. We'll figure the pretty bits out afterwards. But right now, let's just deal with things as they come. It might be ugly, it might be what the manager wants, but it's what the moment calls for. And I think that's where Trent Alexander-Arnold lets himself down defensively. No criticism around how good it still is going forward.
Well, that's what I was going to say, because I mean, I know we're going to be like, make defending great again. Everybody likes to play out from the back. Everyone now likes defenders to also moonlight as attackers as well. Is Trent now almost going to force managers to play him in a more attacking role? I mean, you look at Real Madrid and sometimes we see how Carlo Ancelotti, pushes David Alaba up front a little bit more, then brings him back. Is Trent kind of making a case to play in another position? Because like we said, it's not as if he's a bad player. It's not as if he's, necessarily a poor run of form. It's just maybe he's begging to play in a more attacking position.
To do that, I think Liverpool needs to change their formation. They need to go to a back four, a flat back four, and push Trent Alexander-Arnold further forward. And all signs are, doesn't seem like Jurgen Klopp wants to do that. Who is the natural right back if that's the case? So that's a decision for Jurgen Klopp to make, because he prefers to play the 3 at the back, and it's brought him a lot of success. So who are we to question that? And maybe he just sees this as a temporary blip between the two, that others could do better to protect both Van Dijk and Trent Alexander-Arnold. And he's determined to die on that hill. And I'll be honest, Jurgen Klopp has earned that. He as a manager, he has done enough. He's won enough to decide what hill he's going to climb, what hill he's going to die on, without much questions. Well, we'll question and we criticize, but the truth is, he's done it. He's done it at the highest level, and he's showing no real signs of making that change. But if it were me talking to Trent Alexander-Arnold, I would say to him, listen, right now, as I said before, never mind us passing the ball out to the back. Never mind when the ball comes over the top, that you nodding it down to Matip, or you playing a clever little ball up the wing to Firmino or Salah, just volley it, just head it out, and leave the pretty bits to the players who
the
are
old
in
England
form.
ways,
Right?
balls.
Just put it into touch. We shout and we scream, but you do that for 4 or 5 games, you get a little bit of confidence around reading the game back. You will start to play yourself back into who we know Trent Alexander-Arnold can be. And the other thing about that is, right now, everybody recognizes where that weak spot is. Yeah. Everybody, and it was clear today, everybody's targeting Liverpool's right-hand side. So just volley it out, let people think about how else we can get at Liverpool and take some of that pressure off of yourself and take that option off the table for teams coming up against you.
Final question on Liverpool now, because you did mention Roberto Firmino. He had a brace today. How much of a world of good did he do himself today? Because so many times we talk about Firmino, that he's brought off the bench. He's supposed to be that clutch player, that super sub that has that instant impact. Will he, or has he done enough to get a starting spot? But today a brace is hard to ignore, Shaka.
It really is. And 2 very well taken goals. Yeah. I think the other side to that same coin is before Liverpool, before Firmino's first, he had a really good opportunity, showed good feet in the Brighton box, and then just, it seemed, took a half a second more than you normally associate and need in this league, in all honesty, to get a shot off, and was blocked. So in that one play, you saw the very good of Roberto Firmino, but then maybe it's just father time catching up, but he's just a half a yard off where he used to be and where he needs to be. But then you counter that with the 2 goals. And it gives Jurgen Klopp a real decision to make. The other thing is, and as much as you have Darwin Nunes and you bring him in and you know what it can give you, when you aren't playing well, it's difficult to bed in new players. When you aren't playing well, that is a perfect opportunity, because criticism, the speculation, the finger pointing is not going to bother Roberto Firmino. Oh, he will get over it. But it could have a far more long-lasting effect on Darwin Nunes. So you come in when the team's playing well. I'm speaking from Darwin Nunes' perspective here. You come in when the team's playing well, when the team's winning when the team's winning games, and you contribute with a goal or 2, an assist or 2, all of a sudden things look very differently for you in terms of building your foundation of that new club. When things aren't going well, that's when you need some of the older heads, because the criticism and the back page speculation is not going to matter to them all that much. And when you're a team like Liverpool, when you have the talent that Liverpool has, poor form really is temporary. It's only a matter of time before things turn around. It's only a matter of time before Darwin Nunes will be called on more consistently.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.